Every video and episode of the It's Cavalier podcast is made possible by my supporters over on Patreon. If you enjoy the show here today, consider signing up. You'll get early access, exclusive videos, podcasts, member shoutouts, and more. And as always, thank you for watching.
You can't make this shit up, bro. You can't make this shit up. I don't even know where to begin with this reactionary pod, man. I really don't know. So I'm just gonna kick it off with the intro. Welcome to another edition of the It's Cavalier podcast. It's your boy Mag. Joining me tonight is my good friend Nick Goel. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, not great. Not great.
That fucking sums it up right there. Listen, I'm gonna say this right off the jump. I talked a lot of shit tonight. Cavaliers they did not make good. They did not make good on all the shit that I talked. And now I look like a fucking idiot. That's the least of my worries though, because this Cleveland Cavaliers team is now down 0-2. And this was for about 3.5 quarters. I would say for about 3.5 quarters, I felt solidly confident that they would be able to close this game out, even after Indy started to chip away at it and chip away at it and chip away at it. And then those final few moments, those final few possessions. Anybody out there that watched the preview for this series that I dropped, one of the biggest things that I mentioned was Indiana's full court press, really just the press in general, and the ability to affect the inbound. How many times, Nikki, did we see them make life difficult on the Cavaliers inbounding the basketball in those final couple of moments? Now,
Difficult.
this is a game the Cavaliers should have won, flat out. A game Cavaliers should have been able to win. And I get it. It took a gargantuan near 50 fucking point performance from Donovan Mitchell. The man put up a gazillion points. He went to the free throw line a gazillion times, and he nearly almost helped lift the majorly depleted Cavaliers team over this pretty damn good Indiana Pacers team. Nikki?
Yeah. The ending. The worst part about it is that we saw it last week. They were and they did it twice in one game to close out Milwaukee, including being down by 7 in the last 40 seconds in overtime. And you saw a collapse on Milwaukee, back-to-back turnovers, failing to crash, giving up a 3 when you're only up by 2. It's the Pacers, they made it clear that they've been here. They know what to do here. And you really expected the Cavs to show resilience, especially the way they played for 47 minutes in this game. So it's just like it was a perfect storm with this team. Like you can't, the injuries are a perfect storm. Ty Jerome having this kind of a game when you needed that secondary ball handler, and then now you don't trust him enough to play him at the end and have another ball handler who could bring it up the court when Mitchell's exhausted, right? It's just like it's a perfect storm. And Halliburton hailed on us at the end there. It just, yeah.
I knew that shit, bro. I knew it. Nikki, as soon as he ISO'd Ty, the game that Ty was having, I knew that shit was about to be cash. I just knew it. I had that feeling. I'm sure you did too.
Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy because, in the playoffs are so devastating. You look at this as a 2-0 thing. But you remember that first game, how close it was until the final stretch in the fourth. Yeah. You look at this game, how in control the Cavs were until the final minute. you think about, you know, the Cavs coming back without 2 rotational players, without a defensive player of the year, without DeAndre Hunter, and putting even a better effort today and showing that, you know, the talent gap is real, but it's not enough if you can't finish. And yeah, this is I think it just comes out of this now, Mac, where if the Cavs don't get healthy, this might be over. And even then, they're gonna need some perfect storms to start to work in their favor.
All I can do is laugh, man, because I know that there are going to be a ton of narratives written about what happened tonight, really what's been happening in this entire series. And look, this is a game Cavs should have been able to win after being up. We know that there are ebbs and flows in basketball, but we also know that you got to be able to close it out. And they looked like they were on their way to doing that, but Indiana out executed them, out hustled them, out hearted them down the stretch. And people can say what they want about the refs, you know, the officiating, whatever, what have you. But at the end of the day, officiating is never going to be perfect. No fan is really going to be satisfied one way or another. There's always going to be calls. And we know Tony Brothers is a very mercurial name to be on your crew. And there are others in the NBA. But at the end of the day, I can't really put this on refereeing or anything like that. They gave Donovan Mitchell 21 plus free throws. It came down to late game execution. It came down to being unable to inbound that basketball in the last couple of possessions. And it came down to guys really not stepping up towards the end. Now, everybody is going to point to Ty Jerome in this game. And you know what? The entirety of the series, Ty Jerome has been taken out. He's just been taken out. And we knew after being one of the 3 finalists for 6 Man of the Year, he's going to be in the game plan. What we also know is that the Indiana Pacers have some really, really good perimeter defenders, some really good guard defenders out there that can take some of your best offensive talents at that position out of their wheelhouse, out of their element. And that is what they have mostly done to Ty Jerome. Now, don't get me wrong. Ty was missing some easy shots. There were definitely some bunnies out there that he could have knocked down. And he just looked out, man. He just looked like he was checked out of it. It looked like the moment was starting to get to him at points. And I think Kenny probably waited too long. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I think Kenny waited too long to yank him. I thought that Craig Porter Jr. Probably should have been given a little bit more run in this, but I do understand why Ty is out there, because from an offensive standpoint, he gives you more of a threat, right? Especially as a perimeter shooter, that mid-range floater, that is something that has worked for him through the entirety of the year. The defense, frankly, just does not respect Craig Porter Jr. the same type of way they would a Ty Jerome. That said, I do feel that he was given way too much or way too long of a leash. If you are Kenny Atkinson moving forward, I just have to ask this. Do you look to give Ty his usual complement of minutes? Do you not overreact to what you've seen in these first 2 games, or do you kind of try and steer the ship in a different direction and give somebody else the other opportunity?
Yeah, I would say Ty's been bad, but it's been a lot of good process. I think he's actually he is actually getting to a lot of the spots and shots that he's used to.
Yeah, I think so.
So I don't think you abandon it. I also don't think he's deciding this exactly. I think this was we were up by 6 with 50. Like there's like a 90-some% chance of winning this game.
Yeah,
and Ty had his worst game of the season. So you know it's hard to put this on him, and it's hard to say that with him, without him, that decides the series. The Cavs need to get healthy. The Cavs defensively in the first half today were inspiring. They were like, you know, the Indiana does a lot of what we do. They put you in a lot of situations. They make you really question your scheme defensively. Are you going to switch? Are you going to hedge rotate? How are you going to, you know, what are you going to give up? And the Cavs, like, you know, they made a good pivot. They weren't loosely giving up switches, and they were applying pressure, and they made things hard. And Indiana struggled, like, for the most part, for what they're used to. Halliburton, up until the last couple of minutes, had a bad game. You know, like Siakam had a bad game. This is the second game in a row the Cavs played well enough to win. And this game they played way better and they had way less to go with. The better team is losing right now. So in terms of reacting, it's tough because adjustments like are, obviously they're necessary, but
I mean,
how much, I
and
don't
this is
know.
why I'm asking you this, Nikki, because I feel like they have played well enough to win in 6 of the 8 quarters that they have been in. I do legitimately feel like they have executed well enough to win. They held multiple leads tonight. They surrendered those leads. Credit to the Indiana Pacers. Look, if anybody's been watching this live stream over the last couple of nights, I've been praising the Indiana Pacers. I've been giving them their fair share. They are an elite basketball club, especially on the offensive end. They are capable of doing some really good things. And the Cavaliers did make life difficult on them in that first half, like they did in the second half of game one. From an execution standpoint, I do feel like they came out there with an opportunity to win this one, even late down the stretch. But things just did not go their way. So from an adjustment standpoint, I'm not sure what else you do because you're already undermanned. You came in without DeAndre Hunter. You came in without Evan Mobley. You came in without Darius Garland. There's not much else that you can do from a roster perspective. You're not going to put Tristan Thompson out there. You saw Javonte Green get some minutes. Chuma, there are not really many other options you can turn to. And if people are looking at Ty Jerome as a guy that he needs to be pulled from the rotation entirely or his minutes need to be yanked, I can't lean that far in that direction. I just feel like he has had a rough start to this series. The physicality, the press that they play over in Indy has certainly made life difficult on him, but he has done himself no favors.
Yeah.
I think Kenny would probably be doing him a disservice from a confidence standpoint if he just yanked him or took a solid chunk of his minutes away. But I certainly understand from a reactionary standpoint, from a fan standpoint, why tonight and why game one was really, really bothersome. But I think I heard you mention it. You said they need to get healthy, right? Is there a reality that you see in which this team gets maybe one of these 3 players back, maybe 2 at the very least? Do you still see them being able to overcome this 0-2 deficit, or do you think you're gonna need all 3?
Man, I don't think anybody knows what's going on with DG's toe.
Mhm.
It's something that seems like it could take weeks. It's something that's something that maybe he can play with. I think also just who Indiana is, like it's like the worst team to have a toe injury against. Like it's like a team that just makes you run so goddamn much, and it's like, and you have to rotate so quickly and cover a lot of ground, and it's like it's just not good on a toe. And Mobley couldn't even put weight on it all the way today. Like that's the kind of ankle injury we in the regular season would give him at least 2 weeks. In a playoff scenario, even in a must-win scenario, you couldn't play him. Like, yeah, they got the extra day. Maybe he'll play through it in game 3, but what percentage of Mobley are you getting? DeAndre Hunter, he comes back. How is he going to shoot? Like, I do think you need at least one of these guys back. I think there were some moments defensively today. We obviously did well on Halliburton, but in the fourth quarter, when they went to their bread and butter and they forced Allen to switch on to him, it didn't work. And there's just not enough size underneath to make up for it without Hunter. Not having Mobley and Hunter was just like a kiss of death. Like you don't have that 4 to play small. You don't have the extra 5 to make Allen viable. It's just it's you're gonna need one of them because Halliburton is a problem. Like he's figured out how to score against mismatches now. Like he's just figured it out. So yeah, you're gonna need one. You're gonna need one of them back, at least one of those 2 back. And given what we saw today, I think it's up from here for Ty Drum. I think he goes up from here. I think
You
he'll
don't got
bounce.
nowhere else to go.
Yeah, right.
You can't be worse.
Nah, man, he's got to hit these floaters though. This is killing me. Like all year, you're 50-something% from it. Like it's gonna come back. I feel it'll come back, but clearly you get everything from Mitchell, and you're gonna need something more because. And this is, there's a lot of people on Twitter. We see this Mac people talk about the whole. There's a weird debate, Jerome versus Garland. Like what? Like look, you need Garland. Like you need a guy who can like alleviate some of the stuff of Mitchell. You need it. You just need it. And yeah, you got to have that. But if you can't get that, you definitely you need one of those guys, Hunter or Mobley, back to be able to deal with Halliburton because the way that they attack, the mismatches that they force,
Yeah,
there's a certain amount of athleticism and switchability you need, and those 2 guys are arguably our most switchable athletic defenders. So it's tough.
I think that's totally fair. I mean, a lot of what worked for Cleveland today from an offensive perspective, in my opinion, was obviously, Donovan Mitchell's getting in the lane. Nobody could stop him when he was choosing to do that. But I think that getting the ball, especially in pick and roll to Jared Allen, was especially working. It was an efficient thing that was going on early throughout this game. And I think that not having Evan Mobley out there from a defensive standpoint really, really tires Jared Allen out. You don't really have any other. That's why Cavaliers went so small at points where they needed to get Jared Allen some rest or whenever he picked up too many fouls. And I think that you're just beginning to see these guys wear out. Without three of the biggest pieces of your playoff rotation, things were already going to be, you're going to have very, very slim margins to be able to walk away with victory. But I want to be severely down in the dumps about what I just saw, Nikki. And this was a brutal loss. But considering that this team, shorthanded, has really taken some of Indiana's best punches, I don't entirely feel like this thing is over. You get Evan Mobley back, you get DeAndre. Who the fuck knows what's going on with Darius Garland, like you said, but I don't necessarily feel like it's over. Winning 3 or multiple games in Indy is going to be very, very, very difficult. And for the people who were in denial about how good this Pacers team is, I think you have seen that. And in 2 games, they can hang with Cleveland from an offensive standpoint. The style of play that they play with, the pace that they operate with, you already mentioned it. They run a ton. 5th quickest pace entering the second round. Probably going to go up after tonight's performance, but it's tough. It's tough. These guys are looking gassed. There were moments during the final 4 minutes or so where Donovan Mitchell, he's gassed, man. And obviously, from the gargantuan offensive load that he had to bear, that was already going to be something that you had to monitor. But this has officially become a battle of attrition. When you're heading into Game 3, are you looking to try and execute the same game plan you came out? Because I feel like what they intended to do tonight was get the ball to Jared Allen down low.
Yeah, Allen was honestly great today, especially in that first half. He thought he brought a lot. He definitely followed the game plan. I think it's solid. I think in those fourth quarters, you're definitely gonna need like a Mobley, just the way they attack. I think the game plan is fine. You can't change up on a game plan that literally gave you a 90-something% chance of winning in that situation. Like, you can't. Like, that's not the takeaway here. The takeaway is the details. The takeaway is when you miss a shot you make 80% of the time and it turns into a fast break because they're cherry picking, because that's the pace they play at. Like, it's those details. It's the rebounding at the end when you know how important it is and how desperate they are. And like it's just, it's Mitchell not committing that offensive foul when you're up 5 and you can't. It's just details, and the playoffs expose details. Like we've seen it on the other games too. By the way, we saw it last night in OKC. We saw what happened. Oklahoma didn't pay attention to the details. We saw it in New York when Boston didn't pay attention to the details. Like you give these road teams any space, they're gonna take it, and there's no more margin of error. The Cavs have to win 4 of the next 5, and 3 of them are going to be in Indiana. And that's the reality. And the thing is, it's crazy. The craziest thing about it is they could do it. They have the talent. They have the body of work. They really do. They really have. This is a dumb ass situation to be in. But I don't know. It's too late to do anything but double down, and you just got to get healthy, and you have to trust the fact that you've been the better team all year, and you gotta take it a game at a time.
Yeah. Again, man, I know people are going to call me delusional. I know people are going to think that I'm just being unrealistic, but I still believe that down 0-2 ain't exactly over. You executed fairly well in 6 of 8 quarters. I think that you did about as good of a job as you could given what you had at your disposal. That said, Cleveland clearly did themselves no favors from an individual perspective. We already mentioned Ty Jerome. We know that the Cavaliers don't have a lot in the way of guys who can bring the ball up the court. You see, Max Strus was counted on a lot tonight to be able to do that, and I actually was very, very impressed. And I've been impressed since he got to Cleveland. But this was really, really a huge game for Max Strus. I felt that had they not gotten his offensive production, had they not gotten some of the production on the defensive end from Max Strus,
He did everything.
Yeah, I mean, the man was flying out there. He was a madman out there, Mad Max. But you got to execute down the stretch, and like you said, it comes down to details. That offensive foul that many people feel like, if you're an Indiana fan, you probably feel like it was a flagrant. But that is going to be something that people talk about, giving them the ball back, and when you could have had an opportunity to either get some more fouls and get to the free throw line or run the clock down a little bit more, or both. Those are the things that will be that's going to haunt you. If you're Donovan Mitchell, that will haunt you. That is going to be something that he is thinking about for the rest of this series. The inability to keep Indiana off the glass and that putback. These are brutal things. These small, minute details, the hustle, the effort plays. Indiana won. And you got to give credit where it's due. I don't necessarily know where Kenny Atkinson goes from here from an adjustment standpoint. It could be entirely dependent upon who is available come game 3. I did walk into this one feeling like, hey, fuck it. This is the starting lineup that they throw out there. I did feel like they had a massive opportunity on their hands to prove a lot of people wrong. And unfortunately, it just did not turn out that way. But game 3 will be an entirely different story. Obviously, it will not be at home. That will play a factor. But maybe they get 1 or 2 of these guys back. And maybe that changes things. Maybe that shifts the mentality. I'm going to switch gears here for a moment, though, Nikki. And I just want you to put your objectivity hat on. And you've already kind of done that tonight. But if you are Indiana heading into game 3, what do you look to pinpoint as a weakness for this Cleveland Cavaliers team as presently constructed? How do you close it out if you're Indy?
Yeah, there's 2 actions that the Cavs really, really can't seem to figure out right now, or at least they're inconsistent about it. It's the Tyrese Miles Turner pick and roll, and then it's or pick and pop, and then it's the Siakam getting the screen action and forcing switches. I thought there's times like the Pacers have a lot of players that they're cerebral. They know how to like attack a closeout, put the ball on the floor, score on 3 levels, right? And their shot chart looks good. They just know how to get good shots, and most guys just know how to keep that flow going. The Cavs, it ends up leading to a lot of overhelping because of just like personnel differences, right? Like we don't have like that's the one big weakness for us is point of attack defense, right? It's really just like Okoro and then maybe some of the wings, right? Strus and Hunter, but like Wade at times, but like against some of these guards, that's tough. So Cavs end up overhelping a little bit and being a little indecisive on who to rotate to, who to let shoot, and Indiana makes it hard. So Indiana knows that they can get shots, and they know there's certain matchups they're always going to be able to attack. So, I mean, I think what they'll anticipate, they're gonna anticipate. The Cavs were most successful when they were forcing one-on-one play, when they were eliminating the swinging, when they were taking away threes. Right, that was what the Cavs were at their best. So I think Indiana will look for a counter for that. They will look for continuing to get Halliburton in matchups that he likes. You might even see like a Nemhart step up and take on matchups if they put on a stronger defender on Halliburton, they might just go the other way with it, right? So I could see them anticipating Cleveland forcing certain one-on-ones, and then they'll just like matchup hunt very aggressively for it. Yeah, no, and I mean right now as it stands, if the Cavs don't get healthier, there's a cap on both ends. There's a cap on how well they can defend personnel-wise, and there's a cap on how much they can create outside of Mitchell. So yeah, Indiana's game plan is just going to be to adjust to whatever the Cavs have to give up, as long as they don't get healthy enough to match this personnel.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm just going to keep it real. I do feel like the Cavaliers should have won tonight. They didn't. Life goes on.
Maybe.
We moved to game 3, man. That's my point. We moved to game 3. If you are an Indiana Pacers fan, outside of some of the ridiculous takes out there that, you're the much better team, the much better coach, you have better players, more talent, etc., the reasonable Indiana Pacers fan does not exactly feel great about both of these games. It does feel good to win. That is the ultimate icing on the cake. Pacers haven't exactly played their best, but knowing that it took you to grit and scratch and claw your way back from these leads for a team that's frankly down some of its best players, there is some context that needs to be added. And I think that's obviously going to get lost in the headlines here. I'm sure Chad is loving that right now. But at the end of the day, they're up 0-2, or they're up 2-0. And it's going to be on the Cavaliers. It's going to be on Kenny Atkinson. It's going to be on the guys who are out to figure out whether or not they can actually and are actually up to the task. Because the only people that can shut the fans up, the only people that can shut the naysayers up is Cleveland on such a magical season and great regular season. And this is only going to add more fuel to the fire to the people that feel like Cleveland is regular season frauds, right? But the only people that can change that narrative at this point going to be the Cavs. It's unfortunate because these injuries hit at the worst possible time after you kind of, I don't want to say load manage, but you definitely made sure that you're not putting too much stress on these guys' bodies. Donovan Mitchell entered the postseason playing just 31.4 minutes per game, if I'm not mistaken. Not even in the top 50. I'm close to being outside of the top 100. And for your leader in minutes to be at that standpoint, that should kind of give you a clear indication on what the Cavaliers valued going into this playoffs. And to have that all undone by some freak injuries, it sucks. But nobody's gonna care. Nobody's gonna care.
Yeah, nobody's gonna care. It's crazy, right, Mac? This you do everything you can to be healthy, and then this happens. You do everything in this game undermanned to give yourself a chance to win. You put yourself in a position that 95% of teams win, and it doesn't work out, right? That's the playoffs. And it's funny. I think Twitter's gonna go crazy. I'm gonna get destroyed on Twitter. Oh my god. And fans are gonna lose it, and people are gonna write their narratives. And for the next 3 days, our season's over to people already. But I'm really curious what that locker room is like, and how these guys look at themselves. And it's one thing when you see a team that you're losing to that you're better than, and they're playing to your potential. They're playing to their potential, and you just know you're not, and you can, and you actually kind of did it today, even with less to go on. And I think that's the moment this locker room needs to kind of look at itself and be like, you know what? We need game 3. And once we win game 3, I don't know. I don't know if it feels the same as it feels right now. So we'll start there. But that locker room, I think is going to be feeling very highly motivated. Extremely.
Oh, you got to. How can you not after losing in the fashion that they did, man? It's like 95, 98+% chance to close that one out, and you don't. That has to. If that don't fuel you, I don't know what the fuck will in that locker room. If that isn't something that just burns you up inside and eats you alive, because as fans, that eats up at us. But at the end of the day, they can change this. They can turn this thing around. It's just going to have to be one game at a time. As cliche as that sounds, right? That it really is just as simple as that. You look at some of the real big stats for tonight. One of the biggest things that kind of stuck out to me was the turnover battle, right? They forced 17 Indiana turnovers, if I'm not mistaken, in this one. Cleveland turned the ball over 13 times, right? When you look at what they did with those turnovers, right? They were able to score just 16. They were able to score 16 points off of those turnovers, if I'm not mistaken. It just, you got to be able to capitalize. I felt that in the first half they did, but in the second half, not so much.
What's also interesting, Mac, is that it's such a unique situation. I just saw this tweet from a reporter friend on the Cavs beat, Evan DeMero, and he was saying that there's only been 5 teams in NBA history who had home court advantage, went down 0-2, and came back, right? And I think in most scenarios, when we look at teams that fall down to 0-2 in the playoffs, 80-90% of the time we know what's going to happen. And this, believe it or not, is a very different situation. This is a team that is down 0-2. That is not like most teams that find themselves down 0-2. So I would hold on. I would say, you think it's delusional to say that this. You think Cavs at 7 sounds delusional, right? You really think it sounds delusional.
Oh, some people do. I know.
Yeah, it's and don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's like the likely outcome. I'm just saying that like it's actually more realistic than many would think. And I guess maybe right now it just doesn't matter. I think right now it's just game 3.
That's all you can do, man. That is literally all you can do as a fan is just move on to game 3. As the team, I don't know. Like I would expect this to fuel them. I know some people believe that this could be potentially like one of the breaking points that just kind of breaks it down. I don't necessarily see it that way, right? You're undermanned. People are going to think that's an excuse. But at the end of the day, it's the reality, right? It's one of those things that can be both factual and be used as an excuse, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, people are not going to see it that way, especially Indiana Pacers fans. Unrealistic, unreasonable Pacers fans at that, who are going to use this as an opportunity to gloat when all you can do is just let them have it. I mean,
Pacer fans are crazy on Twitter, by the way. I didn't know they existed like that. Hey, that's
credit to them.
Yeah, fan base. That's a fan base. Damn. It's so crazy, Mac. Like I don't make excuses, right? Like I'm not like it's like everyone's talking about the narratives around Indiana, right? Like the fact that all the amount of series they've played against injured teams, the just even like the comeback against the Bucks, this comeback here, just the amount of stuff that has to go right for them is crazy. But like
sure.
This is a good team. This is a team that put that not every team takes advantage of these opportunities in front of them, right? They do. So you got to give them credit for that. And yeah, I'm gonna take a break from Twitter for a day or two. I think I'm gonna take a little easy.
Hey, listen. I started it off by saying this. I talked a lot of shit tonight. The Cavaliers did not help me out. I got to own up to that. I'm okay doing that because that's what I do that shit all the time. I try and wow people up. At the end of the day,
I didn't even talk shit. I didn't even say. I got swarmed by Indiana Pacers, and I'm like, all right, cool. Let's see what happens. And then all this happened. Like, what the? Like, this is crazy. This is, yeah. I don't know.
It's all good, man. It's all. Listen, they earned the right to talk. They're up 0. I keep saying 0-2. They're up 2-0. They have earned the right to talk their shit. And listen, again, I've been talking mad shit, so I know I had it coming. At the end of the day, I can live with it. I can live with it because the Cavaliers, I still believe Cavs in 6. I've been continuing to say that. It is a large contingent of that is obviously going to boil down to the obvious, right? Health. As presently constructed, I think the Indiana Pacers have proven that they can put you to sleep, right? They can knock you out when they need to. At the end of the game, they can out execute you as when guys just run out of fuel or when you're just being out talented. But at the end of the day, I still believe that this is something that you can come back from. If you're Donovan Mitchell, this one especially has to hurt because he put on just such a magnificent performance to try and bring this one home for Cleveland, try to put the team on his back. Got to the line a million times. Again, in terms of the officiating, I have no complaints at all outside of maybe a minor call here or there. But again, it's never going to go completely your way. And I never want to use that as an excuse because clearly if you ask Pacers fans, they're going to be like, Donovan got to the line way too fucking much. But
no, the one thing I will say about the officiating though is just I think what Kenny was kind of talking about. You're right. Overall, the officiating is fine, but I think it was very specific. It was like the plays, like the Allen play in game 1 was kind of crazy that wasn't called. Like a push in midair that's that's a flagrant. Like that's injury risking. That's not a basketball play. And then like Miles Turner stepping into Mobley's landing space, that's a flagrant.
Mhm.
Like it's crazy for flagrants to become non-calls. And thankfully Allen didn't get hurt. But like Mobley, the ankle is like, that's like, I don't know, that's a rule we put in for a reason, reckless closeouts, and it's just like it was ignored. And so like it's, you know, everyone's gonna talk about the free throws and the overall and all this, you know, but you know, one of those two plays forced the DPOY to miss this game. So like it's just like, you know, the impact of that is way more than any free throw stat you could throw at me or anything like that. Like these things do matter. And I think you're right. In the long run, you're gonna play through it and hopefully get these guys back and you're able to, like, it evens out. But like if anybody's sort of like minimizing that and everything, I would just say, you know, let's not, you know, you're ignoring something if you're minimizing this thing.
Yeah, I'm not trying to minimize it, but what I will say is this. Like you can look at specific things and say, hey, yeah, this is not a basketball play. Clearly, you can make an argument that the DeAndre Hunter play was not the play that he got injured on was not necessarily something that was a basketball related thing. But there are going to be moments during games that we don't agree with. There are going to be moments where we believe that a foul should have been upgraded to a flagrant, or a guy should have been given a technical. And, you know, case in point, if you turn the thing around, there are a lot of people out there, we already mentioned this, that might feel that the elbow that was doled out by Donovan Mitchell was flagrant worthy. But at the end of the day, you can just point to very specific instances that will leave a sour taste in your mouth. But at the end of the day, I mean, there's not too much I can complain about, at least tonight. Game one, completely different story. Tonight, not necessarily too much. I hate to ask this just because we lost, right? Cavaliers lost. But if you had to give, because there are a number of pretty good, very solid performances tonight. If you had to give one team MVP for tonight, who would that be?
For the Cavs?
Yeah.
I think Jared Allen did a lot of stuff that's not going to show up. I think Donovan Mitchell's the obvious answer. But in a situation like this, when you go from going from the more talented team to being undermanned. I thought overall Max Strus's energy, the way, like, you know, there's ebbs and flows to a game, there's runs. I thought he was the one besides Mitchell who really got us back into things, got us focused. You said that huge three in the final minute when we were only up by 4. Donovan looked exhausted. They doubled him really well. He barely got that pass into the middle to Allen, who then found Strus on the kick out. Right. Like Strus hit that, the dunk, like just the energy he brought, especially after game 1 where it felt like he just wasn't really there. I give it to him. But you know, I don't know, man. The consolation prize I'm good on. Yeah.
Hey, I'm laughing because I'm just reading this chat.
Yeah.
People are letting us have it. That's okay. Again, talk your shit. It's all good because you can bet your sweet ass that when Cleveland starts winning some of these games, and I do believe they will, you call it delusional all you want. I don't care. But
it's delusional to say that we're gonna get swept. Come on now.
I don't believe that will end up occurring. But when the Cavaliers do end up winning these games, you know I'll be talking my shit again. So it's okay. You guys do what you want to do, say what you want to say, get it out while you can.
Because Matt's coming back. With that crispy ass hairline too. Damn, man, Mac, you were ready for this win today.
Hey,
like, man,
I had to do this. Somebody else said that to me. People keep calling me Jalen Brunson. I don't see it. People keep saying I look like Jalen Brunson, and I've heard that in multiple streams. And I'm like, man, the hair's gone now. But yeah, to any Indiana Pacers fans that may be watching and shitting on us in the chat, yeah, the locks were definitely there, and I had to let them go, man. After 5 years, a lot of different things going on right now. You know, anybody who doesn't normally listen to this podcast, I gotta continue to try and put personal anecdotes in there. And I'm in the process right now of purchasing a home, and I got a couple other things going on with the job. And I just felt like it was time for a fresh start.
Yeah, man. This is bigger than basketball, Mac. This is bigger than basketball, bro.
Yeah. I mean, this is where we get to talk and express ourselves, right? This is what we get to do at the end of a very, very deflating loss. This is my way of coping.
Cope. We're all in this together, guys. Like, I mean, like, okay, there's this comment here in the chat saying that we sound like the Bucks. Yeah, but we're not the Bucks. We're not the Bucks. Like, we're way better than the Bucks. Like, this isn't gonna go like it went with the Bucks. So, you know, it's not a bad thing to still believe in this team.
No, and listen, I always dig into the chat, so I'm gonna dig into the chat. That's what we're gonna do before we close out.
Let's dig.
Yes. Let's do it. There's a lot of comments in here, Nikki. I mean, we got nearly 2,500 people in here. That's always good stuff. Good to see the numbers up high. But I'm scrolling all the way to the start. Reef Gang says, jinxed it. I'm sorry, man. Again, I was talking a bunch of shit. All I can do is own up to it. I would like to think that I have that much power. You guys think I do? It is what it is. Fair game. Fair game. Crafty Bucket says that crushed me. It did. It crushed me too. And I come up here. I have not missed a game all season long. I'm live. I've been live after all 82 regular season games. I've been live after every single postseason game so far, and then I do not expect that to change. And the one thing that I have to do when I talk a bunch of shit is just accept when I'm wrong, and that is exactly what happened tonight. Reef Gang also says when Neesmith got the putback on the missed free throw line, he was halfway to the basket before the shot. What do you think about that one?
Oh yeah, like the non-calling the lane violation thing. Yeah. I don't know. I have to look at it. I was in shock. Honestly, I was feeling weird. I just kept thinking about the Milwaukee game 5. I was like, this is just not over until it's over. Like this everything is weird. Everything just started to feel like a blur. He also got fouled on that. I know he probably he probably did the lane violation, but he also got fouled. So I don't know. I'm just not tripping about the refs. I'm tripping about the mistakes.
Fair. Andrew Brent says, all I'm going to say is I was right. The core 4 must be broken up.
Bro, the core 4 playing right now, bro.
Yeah, these I almost said a bad word. They're not out there. They're not out there. So how can we really think about evaluating how good they actually look? Listen, if you want to use health as a thing to say, oh, Darius Garland's not out there. Oh, Evan Mobley's not out there. So we should look to see what we can get for them via the offseason trade market. Look, I don't think that's happening. I don't think Kobe Altman.
If anything, this is kind of proving that the core 4 is a little bit essential. No Darius, and you're seeing the load it's on Donovan. No Mobley, and you see the issues defensively in the fourth. Like I'm just like, if anything, you need that talent. Like
there's a huge loss in that, especially on the defensive end. Letson says, I'm from Brazil, and this game is brutally unfair. That it is, brother. That's all I can say. Blue Tober season says some bullshit. I agree. XBeat says, what the fuck, bro? Oh, man. As Polk says, Cavs fans, what happened?
Man.
Pacers, what can I say? Listen, I give you all the credit.
Yo, Pacers fans, I didn't know you. I didn't know about you guys. I had no idea this was in your bag, that you were like this. I didn't know about that.
JD says, all I can do is laugh. I mean, I've been laughing all night, man. That's all I can do. That is all I can do. Nate says, free Don. He deserves better. Man, get the fuck out of here. The only shampoo says, bro, yep.
Bro.
There's not too much you can say. John says, I'm actually sick right now. Dead ass might throw up. Got my beer right here. I might just be doing that after this stream.
I got a bad knee, and I fell to both of my knees. That was rough, man. I got one. I might have 2 bad knees now soon.
I'm just picturing that right now. Nikki's just sitting there holding his drink, watching the game. He don't fall to his knees. He slips. That's what happens. He watched what happened in the last couple of possessions, and he slipped. That's what happened. Matt says, congrats on the 1 seed.
Thanks, man.
Rebellious says Mitchell scored 1,000 points and he has still lost.
Nah, facts.
Hey, bro. When you write, you write.
Damn.
Julian Fodrell says, as a Pacers fan, fuck Tony Brothers and them cheap-ass refs. Donovan had 1 million free throws and they still lost. Hey, what I say? I mean, look, I'm not using the refereeing, the officiating as a crutch, at least in this game. There are calls, as Nikki pointed out, in game one that I do legitimately feel like were missed and should have been called. But tonight, I thought it was pretty fair, I guess. I don't know. John Montilla says 1 seed got us really far. Naz Delon says Tone Pacers should win this outright. I'm guessing that's in replying to somebody. If by outright, if you're saying they're going to sweep, I disagree. But I mean, Cavs got to show.
Yeah, you could chill, bro. You could chill with that.
Produced by Cape says YouTube, the Cleveland song. Oh my gosh. Joshua Downer says Sanders time. It's over for the Cavs. Sad to say, but let's go 12.
I got bad news for you on that front, but yeah, man, let's just game three, guys, game 3.
Hey, what can we do? Drew says 100% on the Cavs, up 7 with a minute left. Look, truer words have never been spoken.
Yeah.
Cavaliers did not execute. That's all. Really, all you can say. Tyler Lamotta says, I thought this was a championship year. We can't even get to the darn Celtics. What the fuck? Look, you can do all the prepping you want for injury. You can load manage. You can minute manage. You can have a great regular season. But the one thing that you cannot account for is untimely and, frankly, maddening injury luck. It's just something that happens. And a lot of people will look to that and say, it doesn't matter. Next man up. And, to a certain degree, that is true, right? I think the Cavaliers' depth has been something that they have been able to lean on all season long, or at least, for a fair portion of the season, especially after the acquisition of DeAndre Hunter. But when it gets to a point where you're missing 3 of your 5 playoff rotation, there's only so much you can actually make up for in the next man up department. So I don't know what else to say about that one. Charles Talbert says Darius Garland, Red Garland, Augustus Garland, Pacers in 4.
Who's Red Garland?
It's not much. There's obviously more Pacers fans in the chat right now than Cavs fans, which is what I expect, right? And that's always what I expect after.
I know y'all existed. That's crazy. Where are you coming from?
Florida Born and Raised says that's. I don't even think he actually spelled this right. That's what y'all get for. That's what y'all get for quitting on your coach last year. John Bontia says, leave Mitch alone. He did his best. There's just a bunch of arguing and bullshit going on in the chat, Nikki. So I'm not going to hold you for the entirety of this, man. The only thing that I will ask you before we get ready to get out of here, before I close down shop, what is your confidence level in the Cavaliers going out and winning game 3?
It's high. It's high. I think we'll be healthier by then. I think we will be, you can't lose. You can't, and it's high. It's high to win this next game. You can't go down 3-0. You are the better team. I know these Pacers fans in this chat won't agree. I know the fans who are waiting to rag on the Cavs all year are taking this opportunity. Have fun. You guys could be right. Maybe, who knows? But this is a good basketball team that's going to come into Indiana. So I'm pretty high on that. I still have the Cavs to take the series. This is just not how anybody imagined it. Even the most optimistic Pacers fan couldn't have imagined this. Like, this is just like this is a reset, and we go next.
Oh, I'm sorry. This comment is just cracking me up. They came to the land to steal Wi-Fi. Hey,
yeah.
until Cleveland wins a game, talk all the shit you. I know this is a Cleveland fan, Jay Quest. I know you, but there's a lot of shit talking going on in the chat, and that's all I can really. That's all I can really say, right? You guys, you deserve to gloat, I guess. But at the
We're
end of
not
the
out
day,
yet, though. Put us
yeah.
out first.
Oh, I encourage you guys to be back for the Game 3 live stream. Always appreciate having fans of the opposing fan base, even the disrespectful ones, because it always cracks me up with the comments. Like the trolls in the comments to me, Nikki, it's never original stuff. It's really like it's not written cleverly. There's always misspelled or typos going on in the comments and whatnot. So it always cracks me up. But at the end of the day, the only thing that are going to be able to shut these trolls up is the Cavaliers themselves. There ain't shit we can do. Anything you'd like to say to the people? What is anything you got on your mind before you get out of here?
We've come so far this year, man. This team, like, was better than everybody expected. And now we're back in a situation that nobody expected.
Mhm.
And yeah, there's too much belief. There's too much we've done. There's just too much to stop now. So if this is how it's gotta go, this is how it's gotta go. But we'll take Cavs in 7, and we'll see y'all next game.
Hey, there we go. I think that sounds like a perfect way to end it. Cavs in, I'm gonna say 6. I still think they can win. I still think they can win, at least a few of these games moving forward before Indiana wins one more, right? If it goes to game 7, it goes to game 7. But if the Cavs go down 0-3, you could just about wrap it up. It's over.
Yeah, no, facts. You going into the series, Mac, like if somebody asked you which of these two teams would be more likely to win 2 games on the road in a row, who would you answer? You would answer the Cavs. Most people would say the Cavs.
I absolutely listen, and I know there's a bunch of people in the chat right now, a bunch of Indy Pacers fans that probably are not aware that I previewed this series, gave all the credit's due. I said Cavs in 6. Why? Because I felt like this would be a competitive game. I felt that Indy would win one of these games at home. I felt like they would come in and beat Cleveland at home. I thought that was definitely going to happen for one of the two. I did not expect it in game 1, and obviously I did not expect them to win game 2. I thought that they would be at a split at this point. But at the end of the day, no, to answer your question, I thought Cleveland probably would have been the team to go out there and do that on Indy's home court. They gotta prove us right, man. You say Cavs in 7, I say Cavs in 6, but I'll take Cavs in 7. Either way, Cavaliers ain't out. That's the best way that I can close the pod. Maybe I sound delusional. Maybe I don't. Maybe you think I should shut up, but I won't.
Let's go, Cavs.
Hey, let's go, Cavs. Like I always tell you guys, if you'd like to reach out to me, you know how you can. It's Cavalier_pod on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and more. If you want to be at this Cavalier Discord chat, you know what to do. Leave a rating, leave a review, send a screenshot, send a review to itscavalier53@gmail.com. If you want to support the pod in a small but helpful way, consider becoming a member over on Patreon. You can do so for as little as $1 a month. Doesn't hurt. Helps your favorite content creators in ways that you can't even imagine. That said, Nikki, thanks again for jumping on and on such short notice. And sucks that we did not get to discuss a W tonight, but you know what? Anytime that we do get an opportunity to discuss the Cleveland Cavaliers, our favorite team, it's always a pleasure, right? Hopefully the season ain't ending over the next 2 games, and we'll see, man.
We'll talk again. We'll be back.
Go Cavs.